In this video, we take a look at Intarsia knitting. Stay with me and I'll show you how. Intarsia knitting is where we knit patterns with blocks of colour, adding a new yarn with each colour change. This is different to fair isle knitting, where we use one ball of yarn per colour and carry the yarn, leaving these floats at the back. With Intarsia knitting there's no floats, and we just change the colour by twisting the yarns around each other. So let's get started. This method of colour work uses shorter lengths of yarn. As we're not carrying the yarn, we add a new length of yarn with each colour change. It's easier to work off of bobbins. We can make these bobbins by winding our shorter lengths of yarn around some cardboard. You can find charts online. They're just like the patterns you can find for fair isle knitting, or you can draw out your own like I've done here. For this demonstration we're just going to do this simple 2-colour pattern. We need to add a new bobbin with each colour change. So in this first row we will have 3 bobbins, one in the main colour, one in the accent colour and another for the main colour. And we can work back and forth using the yarn from the bobbins from the row below. This can work with square or diagonal patterns. If the row up has 1, maybe 2 stitches apart. If the next row has 3 or more stitches apart, you will have to use a new bobbin. Otherwise you'll just end up with a long float, which is what we're avoiding with this stitch. And every time there's a colour change, we need to add a new bobbin, even if it's just 1 stitch, so we can carry that new colour change up to the next row. Each square of the pattern represents 1 stitch. We will follow it one way for the knit row and the opposite way for the purl row. I've knitted the first 4 rows of this pattern and we'll pick up the demonstration from row 5. In the pattern we have 5 stitches in our main colour, 5 in the pattern colour and 5 in the main colour. But we're actually going to stop knitting 1 stitch before our colour change so we can lock in our new colour. So we knit 4 stitches. Now we bring in our new colour. We lay the tail across the working colour and we knit our last stitch. And we've trapped the tail of our new colour underneath the working thread. Now we have to knit 5 stitches in our new colour, but before we do, we twist our new colour around our old colour twice. And that will lock our 2 yarns together, preventing any holes in our pattern. And we simply knit with our new yarn. And once again, we knit until 1 stitch before our colour change. We bring in our next colour, place the tail over the working yarn and knit the final stitch. The tail of our new yarn is trapped underneath the old yarn, and before we knit with our new yarn, we twist it around the old yarn twice, locking the 2 yarns together and preventing any holes in our pattern. And we knit with our new yarn. And we're ready to knit our next row, which is on the purl side. This row we have 4 stitches in our main colour, 7 in the pattern colour and 4 in the main colour. We purl our 4 stitches in the main colour. Now we're ready to do our colour change. We pick up our new colour, we bring that under the old yarn and purl the next stitch, trapping the old yarn under the new yarn and locking those 2 colours together. We then carry on for the rest of our 7 stitches. Now we're ready for our new colour. Pick up the working yarn from the row below, bring that under the old colour to lock it in place, and purl our last 4 stitches. And we carry on following our pattern, making our colour changes, bringing in new bobbins as we need to, until we complete our pattern. Now we've finished the last row of our pattern and we want to finish off. We have quite a few bobbins attached, as well as our main ball of yarn. We're going to put that to one side because we want to keep that attached. Now we'll go ahead and snip off all these bobbins, leaving a tail of a few inches. Now we're going to work across, knitting in our main colour, and as we do, we want to pick up the tails from the bobbins, twist the yarns around each other twice, and knit the stitch. Pull the tail snug, and we have our bobbin tails locked into place. Keep working along the row, securing all the tails. With the ends of our yarn secured, we can take a yarn needle or small crochet hook and weave in the ends. Now with all our ends woven in, we can see where the yarns are twisted around each other. This is how it looks from the front, and we can carry on knitting, adding new bobbins and new patterns as we like. And that's how to do Intarsia knitting.